Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us chance once again to sit together and talk about one of the important topics. So today we are going to discuss about the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I asked a few questions to myself, then I tried to inshallah find reply from Qur'an and Sunnah. And the first question which was in my mind and which often our brothers and sisters they ask, why do we celebrate the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So the answer is because it was celebrated by the Sahaba kalam ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. It was celebrated by companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then according to few riwayat, which I am going to mention inshallah ta'ala in coming talk, that it is liked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. This action is liked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then according to few riwayat and few ahadith, Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentioned about the reward for the people who celebrates or who will celebrate his Mawlid. For example, the first riwayat and hadith which I am going to mention, Imam Tibrani, he mentioned this riwayat al-Mu'jam al-Kabir, and the second book, Sahih Muslim, and the third book is Shu'ab al-Iman, which is written by Imam Bahfi, rahmatullah ta'ala. A very beautiful riwayat, and really to the point about today's topic. And the first thing is, we are not here to criticize anyone, but because our youngsters they ask Imam Sahab, Hafiz Sahab, Ustadi, when we celebrate Milaad, so can we get any proof from the Qur'an, from Sunnah, or from Ahadith, or from Ijma' Ummat, or from senior scholars? So inshallah, we are going to discuss these points. Imam Bahki, Imam Tibrani, and Imam Muslim, he mentioned this riwayat. The once Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he came in Masjid Nabawi. In Masjid Nabawi, the Masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He saw a gathering that few Sahaba and companions, they were sitting together, maybe in a circle. Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, when he looked at them, and he said, "Oh my Sahaba, what is the purpose of your gathering?" For example, if someone is coming now from outside and say, "Imam Sahab, why you are sitting here?" So I would mention we are talking about the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam came, according to Sahih Muslim, Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam asked, "What is the purpose of your gathering today?" Now this is the beautiful reply of Sahaba, which is enough for our satisfaction. Prophet alayhi salatu, the question of Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, "Why are you sitting here?" And the answer by the Sahaba, "Jalasna nadhkurullaha wa nahmaduhu wa nahmaduhu ala ma hadana lil islami wa man alayna bika." Sahaba and the companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they replied, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Jalasna, we are sitting here. We are sitting. We are remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are doing the dhikr of Allah. And we are praising Him. We are doing His ta'reef. And why we are doing His ta'reef? وَنَحْمَدُهُ عَلَى مَا هَدَانَا لِلْإِسْلَامِ وَمَنْ عَلَيْنَا بِكَ. We are sitting here, we are remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are praising Him that He sent you to us. He sent you to us and did a great favor upon us. So is this hadith is not enough for Mawlid? So the answer is, yes, this is because the Sahaba ridwanullah ajma'in, they were talking about the arrival of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Inshallah, in coming few points, I will mention few more things. Now the second question. So the first thing, I tried to establish that why we celebrate Milaad, why we celebrate Mawlid, because this is the sunnah of Sahaba. Okay. Why do we call birthday of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, as Eid Miladun Nabi? Why we say Eid? Because we all know there are only two Eids, no doubt. One of them is Eid al-Fitr, and the second one is Eid al-Adha. We say Baqarah Eid as well. So let me ask this question to the Qur'an, because it is very important for us to find answers from Qur'an, Sunnah, and then Ijma' Sahaba, Ijma' Ummat. These are the things and the sources from where we get our answers. In the Qur'an, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, رَبَّنَا أَنزِلَ عَلَيْنَا سورة المائدة رَبَّنَا أَنزِلَ عَلَيْنَا مائدة من السماء تكون لنا عيدا لأولنا وآخرنا. I'm mentioning the word عيدا لأولنا. عيدا لأولنا. Didn't say Eid al Neha. We often say Eid. عيدا لأولنا. The first thing we need to remember, the word of Eid means, in simple words, the day of happiness. The day of happiness, the day of shukr. And the meaning of the verse which I mentioned from Surah Al-Ma'idah, the meaning of that word is, that verse says, O Allah, send down unto us food from the heaven. And the people who knows about Manno Salwa, they are talking about Manno Salwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send down unto us food from the heaven, that is, may become unto us an occasion of joy, an occasion of Eid. Joy ka matlab pata hai na? We all know the meaning of joy. And unto the first of us and the last of us. In simple words, that the nation of Bani Israel, at that time they were doing dua to Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send down upon us, unto us, manno salwa, food from heaven. Allah, when we will receive that food, that day will become the day of Eid for us. Now my question to you people, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning here the word of Eid? So we can derive this meaning from this verse of Qur'an, that the day of happiness can be called the day of Eid. It doesn't mean this is the Shara'i Eid. This is not Shara'i Eid. Shara'i Eids are Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, day of happiness. For example, if that was not proper word for that day of happiness, is there someone who is more wiser than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So the answer is, no, why? We are makhluk. Inna Allah ala kulli shayin qadir, alimun bidhat as-sudur, He is Allah. So answer is no, no one is wiser than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning about the day of Manno Salwa, that this is the day of Eid. This is the day of Eid, the dua which they made, like the Bani Israel. So if the day of Manno Salwa, if the day of the heaven food can become the day of Eid, because that day was the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Cooked food they were getting from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Manno Salwa, we all know about Manno Salwa. If the day of blessing can become the day of Eid, now the question is there any other day which is the day of blessing than the day of the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? No. Jitni blessing Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam's the personality is, there is no any other blessing in the world. So therefore we say this is the day of Eid Milaadun Nabi. This is the day of the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we got this meaning from Qur'an. Now third question. Is celebration of Milaad in Qur'an? That's a really good question. Is the celebration of Milaad in Qur'an? Give me a minute. Let me mention 2 verses of Qur'an. Then I will ask to you this question, that is there the meaning of Milaad? Now listen the verse of Qur'an, Surah Yunus. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an, قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an, say, in the bounty of Allah and in His mercy, in that let them rejoice, it is better than what they accommodate. هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. In the simple words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that if you have blessing of Allah, فَلْيَفْرَحُوا, try to be happy upon that. Try to be happy on that. So what about the arrival of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? It is not day of Eid. Is this not day of farhat and khushi for us? Is this not day which is happiness for us? So answer will be, yes, this is the day where we got so much happy. So according to the Qur'an, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that if you have if you have my rahmat, فَلْيَفْرَحُوا, then you can become happy. And in our happiness, we celebrate the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the one verse. The other verse, Surah Ad-Duha, last verse of that, وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. And this is really to the point. وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. And proclaim the blessing of Allah. And it means, and announce the blessing of Allah. What do we do at the day of Milaad? We are talking about the seerah of Rasulullah. We are talking about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, when I was preparing speech for today, I was just thinking again and again, what's the point to prove this that we celebrate the Mawlid of Rasulullah? Oh yeah, we do. If you're not happy, it's upon you. But we celebrate the Mawlid of Rasulullah. Simple. This is enough for us. That we are talking about the birth of Rasulullah that day, this is enough for us. But what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying is here, وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. And proclaim the blessing of Allah. It means, and announce, ilan karo Allah di ni'mat da. Is there any other ni'mat which is greater than the ni'mat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The answer is no. So therefore, we are acting upon the words of Qur'an. We are acting upon the words of Qur'an. Okay. Now the question is it done by Sahaba? You answer me. Is it done by Sahaba? Yes. In first question we mentioned about that Masjid Nabawi riwayat. So the answer is yes. It was done by Sahaba Karam Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. Now really hot point and hot topic. The part of hot topic. Is Milaad bid'ah? The bid'ah means innovation, new thing in Islam. Let me explain a bit. There are two types of bid'ah. There are two types of innovations. One of them is bid'at hasana, and the other one is bid'at sajji'ah. In simple words, good bid'at and bad bid'at. Let's go first towards second one, bid'at sajji'ah. If any action in Islam which is against Qur'an and Sunnah, that action and that amal is called bid'at sajji'ah. And this is a bit type of complicated discussion, but inshallah, I hope you are understanding what I'm saying. If any action Islam, if any new action Islam, which is against Qur'an and Sunnah, that action is called bid'at sajji'ah. For example, if tomorrow an Mawlvi Sahab or any person, Allah Hidayat Devi, he will stand up and he would say, Azan should be in Urdu. Azan should be in Urdu. This is bid'at sajji'ah. This is bid'at sajji'ah because it is not possible. No point that Azan can be done in Urdu. That should be in Arabic as done by Hazrat Milaad radiyallahu ta'ala. And as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them to do it. And the second example, there are so many examples of bid'at sajji'ah. Second example is the second khutbah of Jummah. If any person will stand and say, okay, from next Jummah we are going to do Arabic khutbah and Urdu khutbah, that is innovation, and that is bad innovation against Quran and Sunnah. So that thing will be called bid'at sajji'ah. Bid'at sajji'ah. So if anything against any new thing in Islam which is against Quran and Sunnah, that is called bid'at sajji'ah. Buri bid'at, buri innovation. Now let me come toward bid'at hasana, good innovation. So the definition will be same, only a little bit change. If any innovation, if any new innovation in Quran which is not against Quran and Sunnah, that amal and that action is called bid'at hasana. Bid'at hasana. For example, at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was not collection of proper Quran. According to few riwayat, Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam said to few Sahaba that was gathered in one place, but there was not a proper collection. There was not proper collection of sipare, this and that. But surely the tartib which we have today, that is told by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ek alada baisa. So the collection of Quran, the first of all done by Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. That was a new thing in Islam, because at that time people used to write the Qur'an on leaves, on branches of trees, on dry skin, on stones. But Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala, who is the Khalifa Awwal, who is the first Sahabi in Maqam, he did this innovation in simple but bid'ati hasana, to collect Quran on one place. If bid'ati hasana was wrong, if the new innovation was wrong, as people say you are doing Milaad, this is bid'ah, we say this is bid'ati hasana, as a lot of other Sahaba they did as well. So if it was wrong, why Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala did that then? Then after that, Hazrat Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala, he is called Jami' al-Quran. He collected properly, then he made copies and sent to the other parts of the world of Quran. So, bid'ati hasana, one example is collection of Quran. Second example is Jama'at of Namaz-e-Tarawih. Jama'at of Namaz-e-Tarawih. At the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was not a proper tariqah of Namaz-e-Tarawih as we do today. Hafiz Sahab, your Imam Sahab stand here, or Hafiz Sahab stand here, and there is one Sami' as well. He listens Quran of Hafiz Sahab. The proper Jama'at at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this was not happening. So this is done by Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala. So it means this is bid'ati hasana. This is good innovation. Bid'ati hasana. Then on Quran, everyone knows about Hajjaj bin Yusuf. I don't want to tell who he was and how he was. Everyone knows. Hajjaj bin Yusuf, he was the first person who put A'rab, Zabar Zir page on Quran. But this is good innovation. This is good innovation, easy to read. And the final thing which I am going to mention, Mihrab. This is done by Hazrat Umar bin Abdul Aziz. So Mihrab in Masajid, look at the time of Hazrat Umar bin Abdul Aziz, how far that is even from Khulafa. Char Khulafa, long time. But Hazrat Umar bin Abdul Aziz, he made Mihrab in Masajid. Again I am going to say, I am not criticizing anymore. See the Masajid of Deobandis. See the Masajid of Sunni Bareilly Hazrat. See the Masajid of Salafi. See the Masajid of Ahl Hadith. See the Masajid of other sects. They all have Mihrab. Pehle Mihrab nu takadu Masjid cho. This is bid'ah. Because that was not done by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is not in Quran. This is not done by Sahaba. This is done by Hazrat Umar bin Abdul Aziz. Okay, this is the one example. Now let me mention a beautiful riwayat in which Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam himself mentioned about bid'ati hasana and sajiyah, which gives the meaning of bid'ati hasana and sajiyah. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam once mentioned in Sahih Muslim, this riwayat is mentioned in Sahih Muslim. Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, Man sanna fil islami sunnatan hasanatan fa'umila biha ba'duhu kutiba lahu mislu ajrin man amila biha ولا ينقص من أجورهم شيء ومن سن في الإسلام سنة سيئة فعمل بها بعده كتب عليه مثل وزر من عمل بها ولا ينقص من روزاتهم شيء. Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام mentioned, whoever invented or started any good amal and thing in Islam, and then people started acting upon that, until that thing will be happening, the person who started that good amal in Islam, he will be getting reward. He will be getting reward. This is hadith. Go and see in Muslim Sharif. Now the other part of hadith, then Prophet ﷺ said, and similarly, whosoever invented or started any bad action in Islam, until people will be doing that, the person who started this bad action in Islam, he will be getting vice versa of that. He will be getting guna. It means he will be getting the guna and the sin as well. So it means this hadith tells us about the innovation that the Prophet ﷺ said, the time will come, people, they will do new good things and bad things in Islam. No good thing and bad thing in Islam. So this is told by the Rasulullah ﷺ. Do we do any un-Islamic or ghair shara'i amal in Milaad? The answer is no. The answer is no. Now, you please look at me. What do we do in Milaad actually? We do recitation of Holy Qur'an. And we read Nasheed of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As I often mentioned this point, And then, what do? We discuss the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillah, the majority of you are here. They come and attend the mahfila of Milaad. Do we do anything else? Tilawat, Naat, speeches. Is there any fourth thing? Okay, Salatu Salam, Khatam and Khana Pina. Is there any such thing which is against Qur'an and Sunnah? So answer is no. So it means, according to the definition which I mentioned, if anything is not against Qur'an and Sunnah and that thing is new in Islam, that is bid'ati hasana and that is allowed. And that is allowed. Now, let me criticize myself as well. Myself mean, apne loganu. What things are prohibited in Islam which we do in Milaad? Manchuri padiye. For example, if men and women they celebrating Milaad and there is not any system of parda. In Islam, such type of ikhtilat not allowed. For example, even today, I think a few sisters and kuch bachiyan aayan hain. Can you see them? No, they're sitting in parda. They are just listening through the speaker. So if men and women, they're doing such type of mahfil in which they're both sitting together, that is prohibited in Islam. Such Milaad is not allowed. Haram. Reciting such kalam and poetry, which has a bad aqidah, or aqidah of bad madhab, or the poetry is against Qur'an and Sunnah, such kalam and such an art is not allowed. Dance. You will be surprised. Dance ki khua ge Milaad. There are a few videos on social media because of lack of knowledge, or maybe someone did drama and put on YouTube, I don't know. But if any person is celebrating Milaad in such a way that doing any amal which is against Qur'an and Sunnah, that is not allowed. Dance is not allowed in Islam. How can we justify this? No. So, such amal which is against Qur'an and Sunnah, that is not allowed, and dance is one of them. Such Milaad of women. If the woman they are celebrating Milaad, they doing Milaad, but Ghair Mahram can listen them and see them. I'm talking about only Milaad of women. One thing is, if women they are celebrating Milaad according to Qur'an and Sunnah in parda, Ghair Mahram can't listen them, can't see them. MashaAllah, this is good amal. Let them do it. They're talking about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if Ghair Mahram can see them, can listen to them, let me mention about these TV channels. Once I got a chance, Allah maine maaf kar dewe. I was surfing on YouTube and I saw that there was a lady who was sitting on one of the Pakistani channels and she was reading the Nasheed of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I don't know about the quantity, but at least adha kilo makeup on the mutasi. If someone is wearing adha kilo makeup on face, half kg makeup on face, and reading Naat, and the hundreds and thousands of people they were watching, surely I saw, at that time I think she was in the viewership was in million. So this is not right in Islam. And even the TV channels who brought them and told them and tell them, okay, do and read the Nasheed of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but if they have not parda, even if they have a parda, but if Ghair Mahram can listen, it is not allowed. I hope you got my point. And finally, if any such thing is happening in Milaad, I don't want to mention a few more points. Because of my limitations. But if anything is against Qur'an and Sunnah in a mahafil, that is not allowed. Okay, now the question which often our brothers and sisters they ask, the money which we spend on Milaad, why we are not giving this to the widows and orphans? Subhanallah. I agree. 100% agree. Let me just go in detail a bit. I'm not doing anything for my fakhar to tell you people, look, I am really big lover of Rasulullah. Kash Allah kare mein ban jama. Alhamdulillah, from last few years, I am doing, mere neighbor bhi baithe, street neighbor, mashallah. I am doing the decoration of my home. I have 2 Na'lan Sharif One Makkah Medina Sharif, the image with the lights, few lights, and I think 1 or 2 chandiya maybe. The maximum money which I spent, I think that was 60 pound or 70 pound. If you people do decoration of your homes, just calculate. Chalo, maximum 100 pound. Alhamdulillah. I don't want to mention amount, but the amount which I mentioned about the decoration stuff which I bought for decoration of my home, Alhamdulillah, I give in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala many times higher than that amount. And you people do same as well. Yeah, what's point? If we are spending money on Milaad, why do you have problem about this spending money? Alhamdulillah, we give in the way of Allah as well. If we are celebrating Milaad, we are giving food, maximum chalo 300 pound, 400 pound, 500 pound. I personally know a lot of people, even their zakat is in thousands. Even if their zakat is more than 1,000 pounds. Chalo, bahut sare 1,000 nasi, more than 1,000 pounds. Why you don't talk about your mobile phone? MashaAllah. You say, why you Ahl Sunnat wal Jama'ah, why you people, so I don't mention this word, why you people don't spend this money, on orphans and these widows? We did wrong. MashaAllah, you have on iPhone, I think 15 Pro in market. Soon, inshallah, hopefully my company will upgrade. Hopefully. So for example, okay, let's talk about yourself. You criticizing us that we are spending this money on these actions. Why are we not spending this money upon orphans and poor and widows? What about your mobile? Your mobile, at least you have the mobile of the worth is 600 pound or 700 pound. Go and buy any mobile which is cheaper, maybe in 30-40 pound Nokia mobile. You can do everything with that. So while you are using the smartphone, okay, for example, if we spend 2,000 pound, 3,000 pound on Milaad, let's talk about the weddings which you do in your family. Just look at the price and the money which you spend on car hire. I don't know how much people they take money, the car hire people. I personally think maybe at least for one car they take for one function about than 1,000, I think so. I don't know exactly. For example, if you're Rolls-Royce, Ferrari, the Patani, Lamborghini, the Joby, if you're spending 15,000 pounds on car hiring, you hired a car for 15,000 pounds, lot of cars you hired for the function of your son, for your daughter, and you don't celebrate Milaad. You can go in your own cars. Why you didn't spend that money on poor people? Give us answer. Okay, let's talk about your scholars. You talk about the bid'ah and innovation. At the time of Rasulullah ﷺ, there was no aeroplanes, there were no cars, no motorcycles, bicycle. But mashallah, your ulama who told you and stopped you, they use all these. They have really, I personally know. I often watch the people, there are people on YouTube. Their Vigo Dali and whatever they have, Land Cruiser, this and that. So much money has spent on that. This is bid'at. This is bid'at. Try to come and sit on a camel. Try to buy a horse. Buy 1 or 2 donkeys for you and for your family. And try to travel on them because this is bid'at. So the answer will be this is zarurat. Okay, I take my words back. You said right, this is zarurat. Is there zarurat which is greater than, above than the zarurat of the love and the sirat of Rasulullah? Answer will be no. Why these mahafil started? Because when ulama of Ahl Sunnah, when the ulama they felt the time has come that the people they are going so far from Islam, they are going so far from the sirat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they started doing these mahafil. And they started doing this mahafil, and what they're doing, we have discussed already. They're reading the tilawat, recitation of Holy Qur'an. They're doing the nasheed of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They're talking about the lives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They're teaching people actually that if the people they will listen, they will know what is the sirat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is zarurat as well. Then. This is zarurat as well. Allah Taala in cheezan te sanu amal karan di tawfiq aata farmaye. Okay, now Let me mention few ulama names. Let me mention few ulama names and a'imma and muhaddiseen, if any alim will listen this. Alhamdulillah, I have ibarat in so many books. I often have mentioned that even my phone, because that is connected with iCloud, I have at least 3,500 books in my iCloud. I'm ready to show you anytime, any ibarat. Let me mention the name of muhaddiseen and fuqaha and the a'imma of Islam who talked about Mawlid and they celebrated Mawlid in any way. Give me 2-3 minutes, inshallah. The first name is Imam Muhammad bin Zafar al-Makki, Sheikh Mu'inuddin Umar bin Muhammad al-Mala, Alama ibn Jawzi, Hafiz Abdul Khattab bin Dahya Kalbi, Hafiz Shamsuddin al-Jazari, Imam Abu Shama, Imam Sadruddin Mahub bin Umar al-Jazari, Imam Zahiruddin Ja'far al-Tazmanati, Alama ibn Taymiyyah. ये तो मेंशन कर रही है अलामा इब्न तैमिया. Alama ibn Taymiyyah, he mentioned one of his books, मिलाद शरीफ की ताज़ीम और इसे शिआर बना देना बाज़ लोगों का अमल है, ट्रांसलेटेड, और इसमें उसके लिए अजर अजीम भी है क्योंकि उसकी नीयत नेक है. Ibn Taymiyyah mentioned that a few people, they have made this habit that they celebrate the Mawlid, and you all know that Ibn Taymiyyah is not, we Sunni don't follow him, Ibn Taymiyyah. Other people they mention, and their Imam is mentioning that few people they made this their habit that they celebrate the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu because they have their good intention, they will get reward. They will get reward. जाके पढ़ो Ibn Taymiyyah नो. Okay. Ibn Taymiyyah, Imam Abu Abdullah bin al-Hadi al-Maliki, Shamsuddin al-Zahabi, Imam Kamaluddin al-Dafawi, Imam Taqiyuddin Abu al-Hasan al-Subki, these all are muhaddiseen, the people of hadith, who used to teach people hadith, and who has learned ahadith in thousands. I'm talking about them people, they were the teachers of ahadith. They all talked about the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam Abaduddin ibn Kasir, Imam Burhanuddin ibn Jama'a, Zainuddin ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, Imam Bariyuddin Abu Zar'a al-Iraqi, Hafiz Shamsuddin Muhammad Damishki, Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, Sakhawi, Suyuti, Qustulani, Imam Nasiruddin bin Tabakh, Imam Jamaluddin bin Abdul Rahman Katani, Imam Yusuf bin Ali bin Zulayq al-Shami. Now let's talk about the ulama, few Sunni ulama and few Deobandi ulama. Shaykh Mujaddid al-Fisani, Shaykh Abdul Haq Muhaddis al-Dehlvi, Imam Zarqani, Imam Dehlvi, Ismail Haqqi, Muhaddis al-Dehlvi, Shah Abdul Aziz Muhaddis al-Dehlvi, Shah Waliullah Muhaddis al-Dehlvi. Now let's talk about the ulama of Deoband. I'm just mentioning, I'm not criticizing, I'm mentioning the ulama of Deoband who wrote books on Milad, or at least they wrote statements on Milad. Shaykh Abdullah bin Muhammad Abdul Wahhab Najdi, the famous man, and Shah Ahmad Saeed Mujaddid Dehlvi, Mufti Muhammad Inad Ahmad Kakorvi, chalo aage lag jao, Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi, Mufti Rashid Ahmad Ludhianvi, Mufti Muhammad Mazharullah Dehlvi, Nawab Siddiq Hasan Khan Bhopali. The names are in abundance. We have so many names, and they all talked about the Mawlid of Rasulullah. Just final one sentence. Milad is permissible as per Qur'an, as per Sunnah, as per the amal of Sahaba. But if anything against Qur'an and Sunnah in Milad, that is not right. Otherwise, to talk about Milad and to celebrate Milad, this is 100% right. This is 100% right. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give us tawfiq to celebrate Milad of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala sayyidil anbiya wal mursaleen.